Hi, and welcome to Tapped into Hudson. I'm Steve Lennox, and I'm the publisher of Tap into Hoboken, Tap into Jersey City, and Tap into Bayonne. As we film this show this week, it's Friday, the weekend before Memorial Day. We want to make sure, even though you're watching this post Memorial Day, that we take a couple minutes just to thank all of the men and women that have served this country so bravely. Memorial Day, we remember those, especially who have not only served, but given their lives in defense of the freedoms that we enjoy so much, including freedom of the press. Without these freedoms, we couldn't tell the stories we tell. We couldn't report on government, report on all the things that are important to our readers and to our viewers. So again, men and women that have served and continue to serve all around the world, thank you so much. Thank you for protecting our freedoms. With that, we're going to go right to our first guest, our only guest this week, and that is Ward D Councilman Yousef Saleh, represents the Heights section of Jersey City. Councilman Saleh, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. And just want to echo those comments. Thank you to all the men and women who serve our armed forces and make sure that our freedoms are protected. And, we have to remember those that paid the ultimate price so that we could continue to have our liberties that we enjoy today. And I am grateful to be on your show. Longtime listener and watcher, and I'm excited.
Thank you, Councilman. No, it's great to host you. I wish we were in studio together, but again, we're still working through COVID. We're doing this remotely because I'm still traveling to keep up with work and family responsibilities, but we'll be together soon enough. Councilman, I want to go back, a little more than a year ago. COVID-19 was raging in Jersey City and across the United States and across the globe. And of course, Jersey City was struck fast and hard when we lost Ward D Councilman Michael Youn. How did that impact the Heights? I mean, that sort of really woke people up to the fact, wow, this is serious.
Yeah, the first death in Jersey City from COVID-19 happened in the Heights, actually. And that, I think the exclamation point on everything was when Councilman Youn passed away so tragically during the first wave of the pandemic. And it really underscored the gravity of the situation that we were facing. And he was so beloved. Everyone knew him in the Heights. And before he was councilman, he was integral part of the community as a businessman. And it really just made people think about the fact that this is real. This is not a drill. And we have to work together to get through this.
And Councilman, thank you for saying that. And then as the process unfolded over the next couple of weeks, and of course it was the rest of your future colleagues on the city council that selected you to fill that position, those huge shoes of Councilman Youn that did have such a big reputation. How was that for you to step into that position? Could you have been prepared for it in any way?
I don't think anything can prepare you for a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, and with everything, it looked like everything was collapsing around us. The economy, just society. No one could talk to each other. We didn't even know to wear masks or not to wear masks at that point. People were getting sick and going to the hospital, and it was really scary. And to tell you that I wasn't scared, I would be lying to you. And I took it with a very heavy heart that I had to step into this. And I knew, these were very big shoes to fill. And honestly, I have given it my all. Every waking moment that I had that wasn't, devoted to sleep, eating, or anything else, I gave to the people. And that was what was required at the time. People were in need of not just advice, but they were in need of guidance, in need of finding out what are the government resources available to them. And they still need that. We're still not out of it yet, but are we in a better spot than we were a year ago today? Yes, we are.
And Councilman, it seems like based on your biography, in high school you served as a student representative to the Board of Education. You, of course, played an outsized role in law school, I believe it was, in your student government. So everything about your upbringing and your background kind of prepared you for public service, I guess, again, not to fill the big shoes that you'd fill, but prepared you to at least serve the people. How was that transition going from being a lifelong resident of the Heights to actually being the representative of those tens of thousands of people?
I can't tell you, like, even on my hardest days, on my most difficult days, I still feel very blessed. I still feel as though this community gave me so much, and I have still left. I still have things left to give back to the community. Like, I haven't earned my keep yet, not just as a councilman, but as a resident. And those experiences in high school, being president of my student government in high school, at college, and at law school definitely did prepare me for the rough and tumble of Jersey City politics. And I think I would also compare it akin to being a resident assistant at a residence hall, because you get calls all hours of the day and night. You don't know what kind of call you're going to get or the gravity of the situation that you're going to encounter, but you have to be ready to, step in and reach out to the proper parties and proper governmental resources and sort of use the resources at your disposal. If you don't know, you have to be able to say that you don't know and that you're going to get the answer for them. So being an RA in college, student government, and also just being in the service industry, I think that definitely helps you if you're trying to be a council person, because you have that direct engagement with the constituent. This is as direct as it comes. So that all helps when you're trying to be in this kind of a role.
And Councilman, before we wrap up this segment, we're going a little bit long, but that's okay. You were rewarded by the voters a few months after taking office, so I guess enough of them thought you were doing the right thing. How did that feel then? Immediately, after getting appointed, you had to start running a campaign, run a campaign in the midst of, the greatest pandemic any of us had. How does that feel?
I had a sigh of relief, but I knew that the relief would be short-lived. You can celebrate that night, but then the next day the work begins anew.
That's great, Councilman. That's a great answer. And we love following all the elected officials and candidates on Facebook and on Twitter and to see how they all handle their constituent relations. And we see you very much in the motive of Mayor Fulop, very energetic, very active, shoveling driveways of that and is what needs to be done. We've seen you out there, moving branches after a storm. I think I even picked you up on Central Avenue one day when you were out there helping residents in a storm and you were, soaked to the bone. But that's the job of a councilman, especially in Ward D. Councilman, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk some more about your accomplishments and what you've done already as a city councilman. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunley Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson Regional Hospital, we promise to be prepared for your emergency.
We promise to provide world-class robotic surgical care.
We promise to treat you like family.
To provide accurate diagnostic care.
To provide the most innovative orthopedic care at your doorsteps.
We promise to treat your baby like our own.
To never stop investing in the best of spinal care.
To be with you every step of the way.
Here at Hudson Regional Hospital, we promise to take care of our community.
Hi, and welcome back to Tapped into Hudson. Every week we talk about the fact that we don't have enough time with our guests. So I want to launch right back into this conversation we're having with Ward D Councilman Yousef Saleh. Councilman, thank you so much for joining us. It's the weekend before Memorial Day. I'm sure you've got 100 different places you can be, but we appreciate you reaching out to our readers like this and wanting to be visible and present. I want to talk about the work you've already done on the council. You're still a newbie, right? I think you'll agree you're still new to the council. You got a lot to learn, but you've accomplished a lot.
Yep.
We've written several articles about parks that have been updated and a Central Avenue redevelopment plan, and we're going to get into all of that. But tell us about the first day you walked into City Hall and you put your hand up. You probably didn't even walk into City Hall, did you? Let me clarify. You probably did it via Zoom. What was it like that first council meeting, getting sworn in, and the enormity of the job ahead of you?
I think being sworn in, it was a surreal feeling because I still didn't believe it was happening at the time that it was happening. And you think about, basically, if you ever had any aspirations for political office, like, oh, what would it look like? And then literally an empty room and you're wearing a face mask and other people are wearing face masks and everyone's socially distancing. And you're just like, this is like out of a movie, it's so surreal. But you know that the work begins, and I didn't even get to sit in the seat, actually. So this is all like I'm on the ground in the field trying to make sure, our residents get the best possible government resources, that our residents are taken care of, and that our residents have a voice when it comes to City Hall.
And Councilman, it's saying the residents had a voice. That's a great way to segue into the next question. All local government, for the most part, went to these remote meetings, sort of the same way we're doing the show now. Do you think that going remote, did that give residents a new way to engage with the elected officials? And was that a positive thing? And is that something you think we'll see going forward?
I think it definitely was a very positive thing because a lot of people were sitting at home, and this was a perfect time to engage them and to, show them what government does and what it can and cannot do, and the power of people when they gather around a singular idea or a few ideas and how to effectuate change. And I felt humbled to be a part of that, this awakening of the populace. And I think the pandemic really caused people to basically evaluate all their priorities, society's priorities, where are we putting our resources and how we can best allocate them, and having those critical conversations that need to be had on a local level, because that's where it impacts people the most. And those conversations, obviously, in the earliest days of your time in the city council, started with, as you said, wearing masks and getting tested and letting residents know where they could go for the support they needed, for the health support. And then it's, I guess, transitioned now into a pretty effective, as much as it can be, vaccination program. So walk us through that a little bit. As a city councilman and Mayor Fulop at the lead, obviously, how do you feel the city did rolling these different pieces out to fight the pandemic from a health perspective? I think from a health perspective, with Director Stacey Flanagan and Mayor Fulop and the entire city council, I think they were very much ahead of it. And I know the late Councilman Michael Youn, up until his last moments, he was working on the pandemic and trying to find out the best ways forward for the city financially and also from a health perspective. And he was one of the first people to warn the mayor about the impending pandemic that was going to come to our shores. We shut down faster than everyone else in the state, and we recognized the threat before other people did. And I think that definitely saved lives. And we rolled out coronavirus testing before a majority of the state did. We made sure it was accessible to every ward. We made sure that people had access to it and that it was free. And we made sure that now the vaccines are accessible to people. And, we're still trying to reach those populations that are underserved, that are minorities, that may not know that the vaccine is out there or might be hesitant to get it, we're trying to reach out to those populations as well.
Councilman, one of those communities that they say has been particularly hesitant has been the Muslim community, which of course you represent proudly. Why do you think some people are so hesitant to take the vaccine? What is it that keeps them from wanting to get in line and get that jab, to try to make this all go away a bit quicker?
I think because they feel like the science has been, it's relatively recent in their eyes, but it's actually decades of research compiled all together. And if you inject billions of dollars into, getting a vaccine, you're going to get a vaccine. And
Right.
You have all the scientists in the globe basically collaborating for this one goal. And so that's how you get the vaccine so fast. But I went to the mosques, I went to different community groups, I spoke to different people, I knocked on their doors, I'm making sure that they get the vaccine.
And do you feel like attitudes are starting to become more positive towards it? Obviously, the numbers are going up. Are you seeing less hesitancy in the community?
I think the people that wanted to get it have gotten it, and the people that were sort of hesitant, if they've leaned towards it, they've gotten it. But I would say there's about 40 to 50% of the people that we still have yet to reach, and this pandemic is still ongoing, and there's variants still out there, and at any moment a variant could come and undo the work that we just did, and that's from per the CDC. So we still need to remain vigilant, and we still need to get at least 25 to 30% more people vaccinated.
That's right. And that's something we talk about on the show. Absolutely. And that's something we talk about on the show every week. Certainly, we are no medical experts on the show, but, I know wearing a mask has been frustrating, and I know going for testing is frustrating, and having to be away from our family and friends is frustrating. But, we're trying to have an enjoyable summer, and New Jersey summer, as Governor Murphy has said. Councilman, before we wrap up this segment, you talked about there how Jersey City really took the lead in rolling out testing, rolling out vaccines, rolling out different pieces of care. Do you think that early preparation and that early active sort of engagement with the residents set Jersey City up positively for what's going to come, a reemergence, a reawakening of the economy, so to speak?
Yes, I believe that, all these steps that we took, and giving out the PPE, giving out the information in various languages, face masks, hand sanitizers, all of that is going to help the rebound, and the rebound is going to be even higher. And there's a lot of businesses on Central Avenue. You can see it. They need assistance, help wanted. You see those signs everywhere because business is coming back.
Councilman, that's great. It's so great to hear some great businesses along the Central Ave business corridor and throughout the Heights. And when we come back in the next segment, that's what I want to talk about. I promise we're going to get to that, because there is a reemergence of the Heights that's happening. I think you'll agree. And I think you voted on something earlier this week that's going to help make that happen. So, Councilman, please stick with us. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we're so honored to have Ward D Councilman Yousef Saleh joining us. Thank you.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport. Live like you want.
Pan & Pinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panandpintoproperties.com. Pan & Pinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hi, welcome back to Tapped into Hudson. We're going to launch right back into the conversation here. We've got so much to chat about. There's so much happening up in the Heights in Ward D, and we've got Councilman Saleh joining us here to discuss all of that. Councilman, I think I want to start. Last week on the show, we had Rachel Sieg, who, of course, is the executive director of the historic Downtown Special Improvement District. You've got your own special improvement district in the Heights that Councilman Yoon was very much a part of. And it's really working very hard, just like they're doing in the downtown, to reinvigorate the Central Ave Business District. And part of that is a streetscape project, pretty big streetscape project. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Basically, it's $4.5 million, and it's the largest streetscape project since the 1990s. It's sorely needed because a lot of people, you know, if you walk down the Ave, and you still can walk down the Ave right now, there's a lot of like uneven sidewalks. There's people that have tripped. The way it was done back in the 1990s, it wasn't done as well as it needed to be, and it presented a lot of problems for the businesses. So now what we're doing is redoing all of it. We're planting more trees. We're trying to, you know, have the same amount of parking spots and also include parklets in the future. We're putting new street lights. It's going to look beautiful. The pavement was actually selected by Councilman Michael Yoon, so the late councilman. And if you see it, like literally sparkles when you walk down it. So that was his advocacy made this possible.
And Councilman, you talk about the work that was done in the 1990s. When we talk about the Heights and we talk about Central Ave, we can go back even further, probably even to the 1890s, if not further back, when some of that original infrastructure and a lot of those buildings were constructed, and they've certainly passed their best by date. Most of the city council supported and voted for a pretty massive redevelopment plan that's really going to change the face of the Heights. Can you talk a bit about that?
The redevelopment plan also was going to revitalize the Heights because, as you know, this was like a pipe dream 4 years ago when this was first announced as an intention, and then the late Councilman Michael Yoon and Mayor Stephen Fulop announced it about 2 or 3 years ago that they wanted to do this, and then they had community meetings. Essentially, this redevelopment plan is going to put more parking spaces in the Heights. That's one of the biggest complaints I have. And it's going to take it from 160 parking spaces to 400, over 400, and then we're going to have 10,000 square feet of outdoor space. So that's going to be named after the late Councilman Michael Yoon in his honor for everything he's done for the Heights.
So we go with 10,000 square feet of open space. We have new lights, new trees, new sidewalks. How about new residential? Is there going to be some residential opportunities coming to the Heights?
Absolutely. They're going to build, whoever bids on this will have the opportunity to build residential units there. We're trying to make it as affordable as possible. As you know, affordability is a huge issue, and I'm learning the ropes, but also I have some bold ideas for, you know, what we're going to do with abandoned houses in the Heights, and what we're going to use that property for to make sure that we make the Heights as affordable as possible.
Councilman, when you look at the Heights that you grew up in to the Heights that you live in now as a young 30-something, early 30s, to where you think the Heights can be in the future, where is it going? What can we expect in the coming years?
I think, you know, we have our issues that come with a community that's developing, and we want smart development. We want development that is eco-friendly and sustainable. So I think sustainability is the name of the game in the future, and we want to make sure that the development serves the people that live here currently and not just the people that are coming in the future. So we want people to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So you pay taxes all your life, and then basically, we don't want you to get pushed out of the neighborhood. And that's very important to me, because I see a lot of that happening, and we're developing a plan to combat that. I see that the future is bright for the Heights. There is a lot of development happening, and there's a lot of excitement. And if you look at dollar for dollar, the amount of money that has been allocated towards the Heights, it's at the greatest, I think it's greater than any other wards. If you look at the parks, the streetscape, the redevelopment plan for Central Avenue with the parking deck, and then you look at the police station, there's so much happening in the Heights. And this is, if you are ever going to be in the Heights, now would be the moment.
Good advice, Councilman. A couple of weeks ago, we had your colleague, Councilwoman Franzari, on the show, and she talked a lot about parks. It's something she's particularly passionate about. We started by talking about Skyway Park, which is down on the west side in her ward, which I think is going to be a tremendous asset for Jersey City. And of course, it's going to honor more than 500 residents who passed away during a time that they couldn't be saluted with a proper funeral. But in your own ward, there's a couple of new parks that are on the horizon, or one that was just completed, I guess I should say. And of course, the reservoir has gone through a complete overhaul, making that more accessible to the community. Talk about those projects a little bit.
I think what we learned in the pandemic is that open space is a necessity for mental health and just the well-being of any population within a city. So Riverview Park recently got redone, and there's a nice, beautiful fountain there. And they redid the pavement, and the farmer's market is back. It's bustling. We're looking to trim the trees along the tree line, redo the playground as well. So there's different phases to this stuff. Riverview Park, that recently got redone. Now we're looking at Leonard Gordon Park, which has seen better days. But we're right now in phase 1 of the development there. We want to put in new concrete. We want to put in lighting. We want to fix those historic bear and those historic animal statues in Leonard Gordon Park, aka Mosquito Park, and that'll be phase 1. And then we also want to put dog parks as well in the Heights. We also are looking at the reservoir, right? That's we want that to be the crown jewel of Jersey City, and we've started by making it a lot more accessible to people with disabilities. We're putting in lighting. We're going to make it a lot better than it currently is, and we did that in partnership with the community. And we're also looking at the Terrace Ave Park, and we're looking at, I'm trying to remember all the parks right now, Pershing Field. Although not in my ward, Pershing Field, we would like to have a dog park there.
Certainly another jewel of Jersey City. Councilman, we've probably got about 30 seconds left here. When you're out traveling New Jersey or traveling wherever you travel, obviously when COVID's over, you haven't been traveling much lately. What do you tell people about Jersey City?
I tell people that it is the best city in New Jersey, and that it is the most diverse in the entire country. And it really is a testament to what can be accomplished, when you have a diversity of people.
That's great. Councilman, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an enjoyable conversation. As always, 24 minutes just isn't enough time. We could have talked for 48 or 60 or even more minutes, but I wish you a good day and a wonderful weekend. And again, to our service members, we wish you all the best, and thank you for everything you've done to protect our freedoms. We'll see you again next week. Until then, stay masked up, even though the governor said we can take them off. Be expeditious or judicious, whatever the right word is, and stay healthy, stay safe, stay apart until we can really get back together. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.